Storytime. The time Satan sent a counterfeit. You know, y'all, I've done videos in this when it comes to the topic of counterfeits, right? But this actually happened to me about a couple years ago, right? Almost half a decade ago. So this happened when I was in my, what, I believe, junior year of college. So basically, I was working at one of these jobs, right? At one of these jobs, I'll go work, and I just mostly work part-time. And then I'd go to school either before or usually after. But actually, usually before, I should say. But what I noticed was there was this girl who sometimes just come and just look at me. So at first, I never used to pay any mind, right? I just think, just one of those ordinary situations. Everybody stares for different reasons. You got some people who stare at you just because they like your outfit, they like your aura, and they just probably find you attractive. So when she used to stare at me, I never used to give any mind, right? I just think this is ordinary, this is probably no big deal. I'm just gonna go about my business. So then it just kept happening over a month's period, right? And then I had remembered that this same girl who I've seen, right? I saw her in a dream like a good couple years ago. And I'm just like, wow, that's profound. I saw this girl in my dreams a couple years ago. Now I'm seeing her in real life. She keeps staring at me. So I still don't really pay too much mind, but I still took a little bit of notice of it. So then people start, I was cool with some of the guys from her department who worked there. And, they was telling me about her as a person. There was like, she's very nice and this. But then there was some rumors about her. About her being involved in a certain lifestyle, I would say. So once I heard that, I immediately backed off. I was like, this girl, she's trouble. It's dangerous going into this. But then, as time went on, she just kept staring at me. Like, there was even one time I was even sitting in my car, she would walk right by. And she would just stare me down while I'm eating lunch in my car. And just hold eye contact the whole time. And there was been times where she would try to make a conversation and smile, right? So, I still paid no mind because I still remember the rumors of her being involved in a certain lifestyle. For y'all who know what alternative lifestyles are, she was involved in that. And same attraction, I'll put it like that. So, at the time, I'm not paying no mind. I don't know if the rumors are true or not. So then, one of the guys who I was cool with my job, he was like, you should just give her a chance. Those rumors are probably false. We've all had false rumors in us. So at the time, I'm still not too receptive because remember, I'm saved. I'm still in the kingdom. I don't want to definitely get involved with nobody who's involved in those type of lifestyles. So I still brush her to the side. But then it's like, I believe I had some dreams about her. And then the dreams I was having, they were kind of confusing. Like one dream was okay, next dream was not. So over time, as a few weeks went on, I was like, you know what? Maybe just give her a shot. This could possibly be my God-ordained spouse. Maybe this could be a woman that God has for me. Maybe the rumors are false. So let me at least get to know her. So one day, I approached her. I asked her what she was like. I asked her, I asked her if we could get to know each other and all that. And then that's when I found out that she was involved in that alternative lifestyle. That she was attracted to the same, you know what. I'm just trying to keep it PG friendly, y'all, because you know how the rules are on how these social media platforms, especially when it comes to that lifestyle, they're quick to ban you. So I'm just trying to keep it, to a minimum. But she told me she broke the news to me. So immediately after that, I disconnect from her. She said I could get to know her as a friend. I just kept my distance, right? But then even after all of that, she just kept staring and would still do silly things to get my attention. And then, it was revealed to me later by one of my family members who's close to God that the enemy had set that up. And, it's a good thing that God has saved me last second because anyhow I would have gotten with that girl, anyhow I would have progressed, or she didn't tell me in the spot, it could have been bad. It could have been bad. It could destroy my whole life, destroy my whole destiny. Especially with her being possessed with that spirit on her. That spirit of perversion. So, basically, God saved me last second. God saved me. He allowed her to tell me that before I would find out the hard way. Okay, that's how it is in this world, right? You got people to where they'll get to know people, they'll try to get with people, they even know what that person's involved in. And that's how people catch things like HIV, AIDS, and all these different things, right? And then later on it was revealed to me that, that girl, that my same family member who's close to God, that girl, she's in darkness. And even in dreams, I've seen her in darkness. It's like right before I even approached her, it was like there was a man that came to me in a dream. It could have very well been Jesus Christ. He came to me in the dream and he looked very upset at me. Like he did not approve of what I was about to do. But at the time, I'm not even thinking of any of this stuff. I'm just thinking, I saw her in the dream before. I seen her in a dream before, years before, so this could possibly be my God ordained spouse. Maybe this is who God got for me. She keeps staring at me. Sometimes when we talk, she's smiling. So I'm over here thinking, there's no big doubt. I'm over here thinking that it's very possible this could be personal God got in store for me. So then I come to find out she's involved in that. And then guess what, I immediately disconnected. And then it was prophesied by same family member, and God has shown me in the dreams that she carries a spirit of destruction. So basically the enemy drew her towards me, knowing when she's involved in that stuff. And the crazy thing, is one time, years after all this stuff happened, I went through her, I was going through my social media platforms, I got social media. And then I ended up stumbling her page. And the things I seen on her page was so nasty. Like, you gotta understand, you sometimes don't know how people are. Because this is a person who doesn't really speak much, and she mostly keeps to herself. So people will look at her and be like, wow, she's very quiet. Wow, she don't talk a lot. She must be one of those good girls. Like one of those so-called stereotypical girls next door. Girls who are just quiet, they chill, they just go to school, go to work, and come home. But when I tell you the stuff that I saw, that's what the Bible always says, what's done in the dark will come to lightness. No matter how much people try to act like they nice and they all this and that, you sometimes don't know what people do behind closed doors. And the stuff I seen on her page was so nasty and disgusting, It was just so trifling. And once I saw that stuff, I disconnected. I did not want to be being involved in. I disconnected from years before, I should say. But I'm happy I did, because God only knows what situation I could have been in. The enemy drew her towards my way. I'm talking about seeing all these nasty videos of her. Nasty. Showing off everything. Girl thirst trapping. Completely different than the lifestyle I'm living for God. And this way, y'all gotta be very careful, because that dream the enemy showed me. That's why I made a video on this, I believe, a few months ago. Not every dream is from God. You gotta use discernment. Because at the time I'm young, I'm thinking, this girl keep looking at me. She keeps smiling at me sometimes. She keeps staring me down. I've seen her in a dream before. Maybe this is my God ordained spouse I'm finally meeting. Come to find out, it was a trap from the enemy. It was a trap that Satan has set up. And then this is how so many followers of God, they end up having their destinies destroyed. That's what happened to Samson. He fell to Delilah. Had his whole destiny, had his whole purpose in God destroyed. But I'm thankful, God saved me. I'm thankful she told me the truth, because this type of girl, this type of stuff I've seen, she could easily be going both ways. And I could not know her at the time, and then fallen into that trap, and God only knows what could happen with her having that type of spirit in her. That's all I would say, in videos before. You gotta be very careful who you get with, because what's on them could easily transfer on you. That's what's on them could easily transfer on you. You cannot hang around everybody. You can't be friends with everybody. But I'm just so thankful, and this is why I say you gotta use discernment. And when you got a family member or someone who's close to God, always get extra confirmation. Because this is how people end up getting played. These people, they act like they somebody that they not. And then you come to find out they're somebody completely different. And this is how a lot of men get hurt. This is how a lot of women get hurt. And they end up finding out the hard way. I pray that none of you guys go through that. That none of us fall into that trap, And I'm thankful that God saved me. I'm thankful I found the truth in time. Because I could easily fall into a trap, easily fall into the counterfeit, Understand, not everything you see, not every dream you have is coming from God. Not every so-called blessing that comes your way is coming from God. The enemy uses a lot of traps to try to get people. And if you're not careful, the enemy can easily catch you. That's why you gotta use discernment. That's why you gotta make sure you are around the right people. That's why you gotta make sure that you're really living for God, that you're using your discernment. You also got to make sure you close to the Most High, because if you're not close to God, you can easily fall into these traps. Don't be that type of person, y'all. Don't. Because a lot of people have had their destinies destroyed. Whole livelihood destroyed by falling into these traps. And this was a story time that happened to me, man. You know, a couple of years, you know, like what, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. This is something that happened to me. And that's why we gotta always be on guard, y'all, because the enemy, he watching. If Satan knows you ain't a spouse, you think he won't send a counterfeit your way? You think he won't try to test you with the false version? If that's what you gotta be on point, that's what you gotta have to be strong in God. Because what happened to me back then would not happen to me now. Because I'm much stronger in God, I have more spiritual knowledge. That was in my younger years. But now I'm a grown man. I'm a little bit older now, so I'm a little bit more experienced. So I'm not gonna fall into that trap like I did before. I'm not gonna make that same mistake. But the thing about me is I don't repeat the same mistakes. Some people keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over again. And it's sad because you're supposed to learn from the first lesson. But some people be making the same mistakes again. Satan caught them with this trap, they fall into another trap. Satan caught them with this trap, they fall into another trap. And you always understand, you know, just because what you see in the outside don't mean that's how a person truly is. A person could be quiet and be doing something completely different. A person could be a little bit more talkative and they could be sweet behind closed doors. So never think that you could just look at a person thinking you know. Because even the Bible said beauty is deceptive. You cannot judge a person by their physical appearance. Because like, even God don't do it. He say look at the heart of a person. You got to look at the heart of a person. Because you sometimes don't truly know who people are. But y'all, this is something that happened to me when I was in my younger years, and this is just one of my story times. I'm going to be doing a little bit more of these videos, because this helps a lot of people, especially a lot of young people coming up, not to fall into certain traps, not to make you know, similar mistakes. But I'm thankful to God that that's not a mistake that could hurt me. Because there's been many people who fall for those type of mistakes. There's been many people who fell directly into those traps all the way, and they never recovered. And that's how some people end up getting set up. That's how some people end up, you know, they end up getting with these people. Next, you know, their whole lives is a wreck. Like I said, somebody prophesied this girl got the spirit of destruction in her life. Imagine me being close to her. Imagine me getting to know her. All of a sudden, that's how you can see certain things in your life start to drop. You ever notice you get around certain people, everything in your life starts to drop. Your finances, your health. You got to be very careful who you hang around. You got to be very careful who you try to court as a spouse. You got to be very careful who you marry, because a lot of people you get with them, if they're not really from God, if that's not your God-ordained spouse, if they got certain spirits on them, it could make your life decline badly. But I'm thankful God rescued me, because her having that type of spirit on me, it could have been mad. And like I said, God showed me in dreams about this girl. She walked in complete darkness, y'all. Only thing you could do is just pray for a person like that and just move on. But she was not the one who God had in store for me. But you always remember, if you hope in God for something, don't think the enemy won't send a counterfeit your way.